Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bleav in Iowa. It was a long off season. It was a busy one for the three of us, but we're back. I'm Brady Beedon. He's Logan Blackman. He is former Hawkeye Dominique Dafney, and well, the season is basically upon us. Instead of doing the U Albany preview, if you lose, the season's over. That there's the preview. So we wanted to talk more about Iowa at large and what we're expecting from this season. Logan, I guess we can start with you. I know you both have gone pretty in depth with this. We'll just start broad. What are the expectations this year for the Iowa Hawkeyes?
It's kind of funny if you, depending on who you look at from the national media perspective. Like I've been on CBS Sports. Some people are like, "Oh, they'll get 5 wins this year," and I hear like Joel Klatt talking about, "Oh, this is a team that can win 10 games and be a college football playoff super." Like it's very from like national point. If we know anything about Iowa, Iowa's going to be a around 8 win team. I mean, they've won 8 games the past 8 or more games the past couple years, despite the quarterback play. We had Cade McNamara last year, Jackson Stratton. Brendan Sullivan. You look at the game against Nebraska. Iowa was just saying, hey, Nebraska, take this game. And Nebraska still couldn't take it. And you don't have a Caleb Johnson this year, which is going to be interesting how they navigate around that. But I trust Kamari Moulton, Jazz Patterson, Washington. I like the offensive line. But the main thing is the quarterback. Mark Gronowski is in at Iowa. He was named the starter shockingly earlier this week. I saw he was expected to be named the starter, which blew my socks off. I was not expecting that at all. But he's a guy that has been there, done that. He's won a couple of national championships. He won the FCS Heisman. He's been a 4-year starter at South Dakota State. They won four conference titles in his 5 years there, and the only year they didn't was when he was hurt. He is a guy you can attach the trailer to and pull you along, because there's going to be some questions, I guess you could say, around the defense because of corner room and players you lost like Nick Jackson, Jay Higgins, and Sebastian Castro and players like that. But like Aaron Graves, Ethan Hurkett on the D line, like this team is still good. Like the people that are sitting there going like, "Oh, this is a 5 win team." I don't know if you've ever watched a Kirk Ferentz team before or watched an Iowa football team before, because they'll come out swinging. Yes, they're have like the Penn States and the Oregons on the schedule, but they're both at home. So it'll be interesting to see how Iowa handles this schedule this year. But I'm confident. I'm really excited for this season.
Yeah, and I kind of like that you said that our two hardest games are going to be at home. And while I don't think we're going to beat both Penn State and Oregon, I think that I enjoy the fact that Kinnick at night can get real spooky. We all remember the Ohio State game and Michigan when they were third in the country. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm excited for this Iowa football season. Of course, we got the good things that we did last year. I feel like scoring was at its highest that it's been in a minute. The fact that we scored 40 plus at least 4 times and came out victorious. We were 8-2 when we scored over 20. I think that's something to keep living in for another year in Tim Lester's offense. We got a great quarterback who's, in my opinion, a very good mobile quarterback. He's smart. He's been in big games. You could say what you want about FCS, but South Dakota State is a very good football team, and we all know that. So having him come and play, and obviously there was a lot of hype over the plays he was making over camp, and we won't do too much as Iowa fans love to do off of some little glimpses here and there, but definitely good to see him get that nod to be the starter and kind of let us know what direction we're going towards this season. Of course, like you said, it's hard to lose to Caleb Johnson. It's hard to lose to Jay Higgins and other guys that did a lot for this Iowa football team, that did a lot in the black and gold. But we had a lot of transfers in. We got a lot of guys who gained some experience last year. So I feel like it's a lot to be proud of, a lot to be excited about. But of course, we're gonna take this one slow.
So, Dom, I got you mentioned they lost some guys, and Caleb Johnson was a get out of jail free card. Like it felt like when things were struggling, you said, all right, just keep giving it to Caleb Johnson. And at some point, he's going to rip off a big run and get the offense going. What is this offense going to look like? Obviously, Tim Lester has had some time to get what he wants to put in there. He went and I'm assuming he got his guy at quarterback. So you maybe don't need to lean on that as much. But what is this offense going to look like without the safety valve that is Caleb Johnson?
I think it's going to be a lot more shifts, a lot more emotions, a lot more consternation, as we love to call it. Trying to get a read on the defense and trying to make this look a little bit more professional, like and not just line up and we're going to go. Like obviously we're going to need 2 or 3 backs to make up for what Caleb Johnson was. We're going to need the receivers to take another step forward. We're going to need our tight end. So it's going to be I don't think we're going to have one guy wearing a Superman cape this year, and I don't think that's what we should have. I think we should come out and be extremely explosive, use our weapons that we got on the outside and on the backfield, and, of course, use our quarterback, who's a smart guy, who's a guy who kind of represents Iowa like wholeheartedly, just a rugged guy who wants to gain every yard possible and fight for those tough yards. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit uglier, I guess you could, as ugly as you could say, but it's definitely going to be more spread around.
I mean,
feel
what
like
has
our
it been
receivers
pretty
are
at
gonna,
Iowa? Like,
I mean, yeah, how pretty could it possibly get? But I feel like there's going to be a little bit more. There's going to be a little bit more of a combined effort, especially in the backfield. I feel like we could easily go 3-4 people in the backfield and constantly keep churning out. And I think that's going to be something that we lean on later in the season, as per usual, is just the fact that we have so much depth in the running back room that we can tire you out when it gets to the third and fourth quarter. Our backs are fresh. Your D-line doesn't get to change, but our backs are fresh. They're ready to go first, second, third down. And I feel like that's something we're going to lean on, as well as the depth that we have in the receiver room. Obviously, losing Vanderzee is tough for 5-6 weeks, but then that gives opportunities to guys like Sam Phillips and Jacob Gill, and of course, Beedon, who explodes whenever the ball in his hand. I feel like the fact that we have so much depth, a little bit more depth than we're accustomed to, is going to make this offense be a little bit less predictable. I wonder where they're going to give the ball. So I think that's going to be something that's going to need to have the wrinkles worked out as we get to weeks 1, 2, and 3, but it's going to be something that we lean on as the future comes.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the have multiple guys in the backfield, because if you look back at like when Iowa went to the Orange Bowl, like the year before that, you lost Sean Green, and you were able to replace that with Adam Robinson and Brandon Wager. Neither one had like 12 or 2,000 yards or anything like that, but they were both two guys that can wear you down. Like I love, like you brought up, like staying fresh, like your D line staying in there, but our running backs are staying fresh. We're going at you every single time. So it's nice to have that Caleb Johnson turn, like I brought the Nebraska game where the touchdown that he scored on that play just epitomized what Caleb Johnson was at Iowa in regards to like shoveling off numerous defenders, walking into the end zone, taking it a 70-yard touchdown that just started off as a screen pass, and then all of a sudden he's in the end zone. Like he was just so dynamic. This offense, getting with Lester getting his guy, like we talked about, Gronowski coming in, talking to Tucker Kraft, a former South Dakota State Jackrabbit himself, with Lester in the Green Bay. So him and Gronowski kind of talked together about what the offense will look like, and it's just an exciting feeling to have a quarterback that the coach handpicked. Like this is Tim Lester's guy. Mark Gronowski has talked to former players of Lester to get an idea what this offense is, and it's gonna be fun. I trust Moulton, I trust Jazz Patterson, I trust Gronowski. I'm excited to see what Lester does. The receivers, yes, Vanderzee being out, it's gonna hurt, but I love the receivers that you brought up too. Like it's just gonna be a fun time. I'm excited for see how this offense looks this year.
So let's just talk overall expectations. I know one thing we mentioned, or we touched on a lot last year, was what should Iowa's expectations be, especially in the 12-team playoff format, and God forbid they go to what the Big Ten was proposing and have like a 28-team playoff format. But with 12 teams, I feel like Iowa should always be in the mix. And you look at their schedule this year, it's they have some tough games. I mean, I don't love to admit it, but the game next week in Ames scares me. I think Iowa State's a pretty good team. Indiana, we'll see what they end up being, but it looks like Kurt Cignetti. You have to go to Wisconsin. You host Penn State and Oregon, like you mentioned. I never like having to go to USC. Just anytime going to the Pacific time zone has not been good for traditional Big Ten teams. What are your guys' expectations? Because like Logan, you said, the national pundits, I think Iowa is just a roll of the dice, because there are years you're like, ooh, this team can be really good. We should compete for a Big Ten. Cutscene 7-5. And then there's teams that's, all right, we'll see what we got. And next thing you know, you're in the Big Ten championship game. What are the expectations this year, given the schedule? Are you thinking this is a team that could flirt with the playoff, or is it, hey, make a bowl game and continue to grow?
I think it's definitely a team that could flirt with a playoff berth, because like we talked about with the Penn State and Oregon games both being at home, in Indiana as well, the last remaining undefeated team last year, in Penn State, who's one of the favorites to win the Natty this year, brought back damn near everybody barring Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter. Like if you're able to get wins like that, that could be massive resume boosters. Beat Iowa State on the road. Like Iowa hasn't lost to Iowa State since 2011, so it's been a while, or since 2011 in Ames. So it's been a little bit, but if you're able to stack wins like that, there's no reason why they can't be in and around that conversation of a playoff. And I'm not going to sit here and go like, oh, they're going to challenge for a Big Ten title or anything, but I do think that there's that chance of like the Indiana last year where you get that final seed or one of the final seeds in the playoff and you're able to go on the road in the playoffs. Like Iowa has the players to do that. The defense is going to be tested early with the Iowa State game, but I trust Phil Parker with my soul, and I'm excited to see what another year with Lester does. And if they're able to, if Gronowski's able to, like Iowa hasn't had a 3,000-yard passer since James Vandenberg. Like it's been a long time since a 3,000-yard passer, but it's been since 2019 since they had a 2,000-yard passer. So if Gronowski can get to 2,000 yards, like 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, then there's no reason why I don't think Iowa can't be one of those quote unquote sleeper teams for the playoff.
I think the biggest thing is they can't lose any games they're not supposed to. You have to win at Rutgers. Hey, some teams like Minnesota, you get them at home. Wisconsin, who knows if Luke Fickell will have a job after this year. You have to win that one. Michigan State last year was the game where the Spartans were bad. That was a bad team, and I had to watch them shut down Iowa, and that's a game, if you win, you feel different. You can't blow the Iowa State game again. That's the biggest thing to getting to a playoff is, the consistency, beating the teams you're supposed to, because there's a lot of teams out there like Indiana last year. What was their signature win? It was they didn't lose to a team they weren't supposed to lose to, and they were in the playoffs because of it. Dom, what are your expectations, especially as a former player?
My expectations have kind of, been the same since I left. Is we're going to have to see. And I say that to say that we're going to have to see what team comes to play, because obviously there were games last year, like you brought up, Michigan State, UCLA, in my opinion, where we do have a better team, but we just didn't come to play. We weren't tackling well. Our coverage wasn't sticky enough. We weren't continuing drives like we normally do, 10, 12 plus play drives. So, well, obviously, I would love to flirt with the 9-3s, the 10-2s, and winning all the games that we're supposed to. But the Iowa player in me says we have to. That this first couple of weeks is the most important. It puts you in a very good position. Obviously, going to Ames and getting a win out of there is going to put you in a great position to continue to make strides and continue to go into Big Ten play with the utmost confidence that we could beat anybody in the country. And, of course, having those two big juggernauts in Penn State, Oregon at the crib is going to be extremely important. Having Kinnick rocking at night, it does things to people. It gets, like I said, it gets spooky in there when it's night and we're wearing all black and you see the boys swarming out. It makes a difference. So the fact that we have those games at home is going to be very important. That we have a little bit more depth than we're more accustomed to, I think is going to be important for us. To have a quarterback who's going in his fifth year is going to be important. So like having people that we can rely on, having Tim Lester a little bit more comfortable in the system, guys being more comfortable in his system, I could see us getting 8 wins and above. That's kind of my prediction. The prediction I made last night is I see us doing that. And like you said, the Indianas of the world, you just don't lose who you're not supposed to lose to. You win those games and maybe you make it a little bit closer to Penn State. Maybe you come out with a win against Oregon, and then they can't deny you putting in the playoff because, they have the resume that upholds what we want in these 10, 11, 12 seeds in the playoff. So as long as we go out there swinging, and like you said, we make our layups. That's what we were talking about last year. Make your layups. Win the games you're supposed to and come out and kind of smack the teams you're not supposed to. It puts you on a bigger pedestal. It puts you up there in the voters, in their minds of, they came out and they showed a lot, and I think they have what it takes to make this 12-team playoff a little bit more key. So that's the way we're going to be able to slide in there as we get to that point later in the season.
I mean, again, there's going to be the big ones. I mean, I feel like Iowa State's kind of that fork in the road game, and I know it's week 2, and yes, they could lose that game and still have a nice season, but they're probably going to be ranked around 15 after their win over Kansas State. Now, that was not a clean game, but I don't expect a week 0 game in Ireland to be a clean game. But if you win that one, you could potentially set up a situation where the game against Indiana, that could be a top 25 matchup, and you can be 4-0 going into that one. And then we see what happens in the month of October. Who knows? But I do think it's fair to say, hey, no, Iowa's not going to be a team that's going to be top 5, but there should be expectations to be in and around the playoff, especially like Logan went through. You went and got the guy essentially at the FCS level. He's on his 3rd school. He basically is like, all right, I've done what I've needed to do at South Dakota. Now I'm going to Iowa to prove myself in the Big Ten. Tim Lester wants to make the offense better, so Iowa's not the butt of every joke when it comes to their offense. So, yeah, I think they can push forward. Fellas, what else before we get the season going that we need to touch on in a broad sense?
Let's retire the punting is winning mantra. This is the season to end it. I don't want to see punting is winning shirts anymore. I want to see, oh my God, this offense is consistent. They're putting up points. I'm not scared when the quarterback drops back. I know my quarterback's going to throw with the laces, which is not the most important thing, but I don't think Cade McNamara ever threw with the laces at Iowa. I trust the quarterback to make reads, motions, and not fold under pressure. I'm so ready for the season. The Albany game will be the Albany game, but that Iowa State game week 2, that's gonna be fun. First road test for Gronowski. That place gonna be rocking. Big noon kickoff. Punting is winning. Need that to retire. This is the year to do it.
I'm gonna go on the other side of the ball. Is my hope and what I'm looking forward to is to see our secondary and our defense get a little bit better than last year. That is our bread and butter. Phil Parker is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator. I'm hoping to see steps forward. Last year, we gave up like 200 yards passing a game, which is not normal. It's a down year for sure. So my hope is that we see the defense get back to what they're known for and getting after the quarterback and making these games sticky 10-3, making it real hard for our opponents, regardless of who it is, and continue to take strides and leaps forward with you losing some of your kind of your staple guys. But bouncing back, getting some transfers in, getting some guys a little bit more experience, and kind of having a year that we could bounce back and let people know that's still the Iowa Hawkeyes.
The Albany game, we're not going to break down an FCS game because if they lose, then burn it down. It's a warm-up game. The big one's next week. Looking forward to that. As for the show, I know we took an off-season, but I'm excited to be back. We're going to try to do everything we did last year, talk Big Ten, Iowa football. We started to find a groove. I'm excited to get back into it. Hopefully next week I'll have a full slate of shows for everyone. We appreciated everything last year, and we're ready to make it better this year. So I guess as we wind down, first of all, congratulations to our man Logan. He's becoming a man's man. Mm-hmm. Got engaged in the off season. So most important question, are you having a fall wedding?
Before the season, like late August.
Hey, I was August 17th. The one battle I had, I said, listen, this is part of my job. I had family still playing college football. I'm not making them pick. It was late August for me. I think that's a great time to do it.
It lined up well with everything. So it was, late August of next year. So it's exciting time.
And the other thing is, completely off topic, but it's been a decent baseball season for our 3 teams. For those that obviously Dom, he's wearing his Dodgers hat right now. Logan, the Cubs fan, and myself, a Tigers fan. I don't care which one I get in the World Series, but I know I'm going to get one of you, and it's going to be good contentious on this show. Dom got his World Series last year, so he's good for now.
We're looking to go back-to-back, of course, and when we do, I will be attendance just like I was for Game 3 last year at Yankee Stadium. That was the highlight of my year, getting to hear them boo me out of the stadium because they lost, but looking to go back again and do it again.
I'm just ready. I just need the Cubs to actually, they're starting to get back to normal, but if the Cubs don't win it, Brady, I'm cheering for Javi Baez, so I'm good with the Tigers winning this year if the Cubs don't.
Dom, if it is Dodgers-Tigers, I would welcome you to Comerica Park. I hope they're more welcoming than Michigan State fans were to me at the Iowa game last year.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. If it is, I will be there. I remember the faces when I took my hoodie off and they seen I was wearing an LA hat, and there were smiles. I assume it's going to be the same type of energy, and we welcome it wherever we're at. I know it's going to be a nice welcoming, no matter what stadium I'm at.
It's good to be back. Always fun to talk after this slate of games, and hopefully a 50-0 Iowa win over Albany. Can anyone give me anything on Albany? Logan, I'm sure you've done some research, and you'd be able to tell me where like the left guard went to high school or something.
Well, I mean, they got a new coach. He's been on the staff for a while now, for a little bit, but they're not a good team. They didn't score more than 20 points in like 8 of their games last year. So like if you hold them to under 20, there's a very good chance that they're going to lose the game. So they're replacing a quarterback. Their running game's not really there. Their leading tacklers are gone. Iowa should go through without any problems. This is not like an Illinois State where Iowa did well against last year. Like this is a team that's way below Illinois State in regards to like the FCS levels. This should be an easy game. Gronowski plays a drive into the third quarter, and we're moving on to the next week against Iowa State. At least that's the hope.
They should body slam them. There's no jinx. This game should not be jinxable. Like it's U Albany. Can anyone name anyone that ever played at U Albany? Exactly.
You and I's former broadcaster, his nephew played there, but I don't remember what his name.
This is honestly the first I'm hearing of U Albany, and that's no disrespect to them. I just looked at the schedule and I was like, interesting. I didn't know that was a school, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of FCS. A lot of hidden gems.
Jared Verse spent 3 years there before Florida State. Sorry to disrespect the Great Danes, but he's about the only one. Let's see if there's a couple of guys that spent like a cup of coffee in the NFL, but a lot of them are listed being in the NFL for one season. So yeah, he's the one name everyone would recognize. So anyway, we'll be back after this week's games. Good to be back. Follow us X on Instagram, on YouTube at Bleav in Iowa. Try to get those up and going again. And it's good to be back. We'll talk after the game. Thank you for listening to Bleav in Iowa.